What is going on, guys? This is Blair here from AMZ Prep Canada, and I wanted to do a very quick video just firstly saying hello and three major tips that I'm going to recommend. Obviously, we're doing this amazing event, and there's tons of really talented speakers that you guys obviously are seeing or you're about to be seeing as well. So I wanted to run through three of my major tips, and I wanted to get into the weeds of this sexy logistics because everyone's going to be talking about advertising and conversion and all of those things. But one of the most important things is your inventory, because obviously without your inventory, honey, you got no sales. So we are AMZ Prep. So I'm the CMO, and I help brands expand to Canada. I help them consult on their logistics strategy. And I'm going to break down my three major tips, and I'm going to do it real fast for you guys, just so you guys can get into the weeds. And again, I'm here, I'm in my cottage right now up north in good old Canada. So a little bit of bias of what we talk about with Canada, but let me run through these. So number one is turn off your NARF to 8x your international sales. A lot of sellers, what they do wrong is, well, if you don't even have NARF on, number one, turn on NARF, Google it, get a YouTube video, turn on NARF to see what your Canadian sales look like. But more importantly, after that, is that if you guys are already generating sales, maybe $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month with NARF, turn off your NARF and send stock directly to a Canadian FBA warehouse. This way you have localized inventory and localized experience for customers in Canada. On average, this will create an 8x lift. So if you guys are doing $10,000 a month with NARF, North American Remote Fulfillment, when you turn on that Canadian warehouses and ship stock to, you'll 8x your sales. It's huge. So that means now you're doing 10,000 to 80,000, and now you have $1 million business in Canada. Not too shabby, right? On top of that, if you get sent stock to a Canadian warehouse, you can also optimize your US inventory limits. You didn't think about that, right? And the inventory limits makes all things go around. So if you have NARF on and you have an issue with inventory limits, some of that stock might be getting kept for Canada. Get that stuff out of there. Send it to a Canadian warehouse. Those limits are completely separate. So that would be my second recommendation on it. And obviously, when you expand locally to a Canadian market, you get to expand your overall brand awareness. There's 30 plus million customers. This is the size of another California. And now you get to enable Walmart.ca, maybe your own Canadian Shopify store, and also retail and in-store opportunities will start to come up as well. So again, there's a couple different scenarios you can do there, but tip number two is apply and set up Amazon SFP. So I'm a huge believer in the Seller Fulfilled Prime program, depending on the size of the brand. But some of the key benefits is that obviously you still get your exposure to Prime members if you're doing merchant fulfillment. You gain a ton of control in terms of your inventory. And also right now, there's a ton of long-term storage fees. You can avoid all of those if you are doing SFP. And the reason I'm pushing SFP, not because it's the best fit for everyone, but because they recently just opened up eligibility again. So I'd recommend at least applying and go through the application in case you need it, or maybe you guys do have oversized products. That is a huge opportunity for SFP too. The other key benefits, you also get to control your fulfillment and shipping fees. Depending on the size of the product, usually you can optimize costing to save a bit of margin if it's done correctly. And also the overall brand experience, right? You get to create a branded box if you want, custom thank you cards. The packaging doesn't have to have an Amazon like tape or box around it. You can create it what you want. And depending on how you're building your brand, this is a huge opportunity. But lastly, even better control of your returns, right? So your returns, your refunds, you can optimize those so that they don't all get sent to Amazon and you're getting charged for those and impacting your IPI score, so on and so forth. So it's not a best bet for everyone. But if you do have the volume, maybe you do over $5 to $10 million a year on Amazon, I highly, highly recommend it. Or if you are selling oversized items. All right, last one for the day, the Canadian cowboy approach. One of my favorite recommendations. I tagged this term myself. This is a Blair original. What the Canadian cowboy approach is that some products are very competitive to launch into the US market, and you will need a huge budget. $10, $20, $50,000 to launch, even some of these supplement brands. The Amazon.ca market is much less competitive and much less risk. So the Canadian cowboy approach, it's scrappy, it's lean, and it's meant to limit risk. Pick a few products that you're looking to launch, test them out on the Canadian market, right? You can do it for a fraction of the cost. So you can try 3, 5, 10 different products, roll them out into Canada, run some ads, which are very cheap up here, and use Canada as a launch pad to test the product, the viability. And you can also use it to generate reviews, sales velocity at a fraction of the cost. So if you have products that maybe you're just a little bit too nervous to launch into the US, try Canada first, get your momentum up, get your confidence, find the best moving products, and then roll it out into the US. And of course, a little bit of bias, but if you guys need a warehouse up here, we have you covered. We can do the shipping and the logistics all from one central location. So again, I love the Canadian cowboy approach because it's lean, it's scrappy, it's messy, but of course, there's a ton of other opportunities here. So if you're a US seller trying to get into Canada, or you want to take a quick rodeo on the Canadian cowboy approach, hit me up, Blair at amzprep.com. And I'm super excited to even be a part of this. So thank you guys for having me. Hopefully these 3 tips are valuable. And damn, I smashed that super fast. See you guys.